Hi, this is Jen, the Accidental Homesteader, and I'm going to show you what I'm up to today. Got a lot going on, as you see my counter. This is the easiest. I have my onion sets that I got in the mail. They were a little dry, so I just put them in water so just the roots are soaked. I'm going to set those to the side now because later today I'm going to plant those. Okay, so next, sprouts. Sarah that follows me, I had shown these lids, and Sarah guessed right that they were for sprouting, and at the same time she asked that I demonstrate how to sprout seeds. So I have some alfalfa sprouts here, and there's quite a few steps, so I'm going to just do, of course, the first steps. The first thing is you want to rinse them thoroughly, and you want, for alfalfa sprouts, you want about 3 tablespoons. I'm not sure I have that many. The store didn't have very many, so I have 1, 2. Looks like I have just 3 tablespoons, and that's what I wanted. So I put it in my strainer, and I'm going to use cool water here at the sink, and I'm just going to rinse them. And if there's any rocks or anything like that, I'm going to pick those out. Honestly, I don't see anything like that. Okay. One more rinse. And not hot, not cold, I'm just using cool water. Now I'm going to put them in a wide mouth jar. The reason I'm using a wide mouth jar is because it's easier. And you know me, I'm all about simple and easy homesteading. Okay. And I'm going to try to get them all in here because they were quite expensive. I got them from the local health food store, and these 3 tablespoons cost me $3, which I thought was quite a lot, considering what I could buy alfalfa sprouts from the store for. Okay, so those are in there. And now I need to soak them for about 8 hours. And I'm going to fill the jar up quite a bit. And again, actually that might be a little warm. I'm going to add some cold water to fix that problem. Okay. So now I'm going to let them soak for about 8 hours. And I'm looking for them to double in size. And then I will do the next step this evening. So that's sprouts. I also bought some mung bean sprouts that I plan to try after the alfalfa sprouts. I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to put this in the sink. Okay. Other thing I've been doing is sourdough. And this was starter that I had. And I did some comparisons and trying some different things out. And these are on day 3, and I'm getting ready to feed them. I have them in these little half-pint jars, and the jars are not going to be big enough for the next step, so I have to transfer them to new jars. What the experiment was is I had a really chunky starter. There's like just pieces that were broken up from dried starter. And I had tried that with my regular starter, and it seemed to activate so much quicker, and I wanted to do some experimenting. So I took the real chunky starter, and I actually put it in my little smoothie cup and blended it up. So it was the same consistency of my regular starter. And on day 1, for some reason, the chunky starter again activated so much faster than the smooth starter or the smaller pieces. But by day 2, they were the same. So I don't know why. It doesn't really make sense to me. But the cool thing is regardless is if you want the chunky starter or the really tiny pieces, they both activate. So I'm opening my jars, and I'm going to use a spoon, just a plain old spoon, to put the starter from one jar to the other so I have enough room. And I'm using wide mouth jars because it's easy. Okay. If I was really being scientific, but I'm really not at this point, I just, feeding my starter, I would use a separate spoon, but it doesn't matter because I know it both works, and I'm all about easy. Okay, so I have the starter in there. And next I'm going to add water. On the third day I'm adding a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of flour. And this is lukewarm water, not cold, not hot, kind of like baby bath water or a little cooler than that. And I already pre-measured a 1/4 cup here. And I'm going to stir that up. And I just find it's easier to add the water. It's easier to mix it all when you add the water first. So starter, water, and then I have a 1/2 cup of flour here that I'm going to add, and another 1/2 cup of flour to the starter. The other thing I wanted to mention is we heat with wood, so my kitchen temperature is not constant. And last night, it got really cold in the house. It was 55 degrees, and the starter was fine. So don't worry if your kitchen's not warm. It does work in a cooler kitchen, even in the winter. I know that because you could see how, when I showed you these originally, you could see how much they've grown. Okay, so these are stirred up. And people do it both ways about putting lids or not lids. My main sourdough I keep in a crock, which has a loose lid. I've actually been using tight lids with these, and they seem to be working fine. So I think it's personal preference. We could loosen them a little if you wanted, just to give some air. I'm going to put those back there, and that's it. Thanks for watching the updates from the Accidental Homesteader, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.